Hello everyone. Hi, this is Carlos Monteiro again. I'm the founder of Denmark Brazil and Biassa, denmarkbrazil.com. And today I'm going to record again this class on how do you establish a business in Brazil. As last week I presented my first webcast on how to establish a business in Brazil. I've been doing interviews and so forth, but it was the very first time that I showed it was the first webcast. And on my email list, I got a lot of requests from people asking me to record like a shorter class. So that's what we're gonna do today. So let's just get started. And this class is about how do you establish a business in Brazil with foreign capital. As I mean, I live in Denmark, and I have a lot of requests from Danish people asking me how can they get started and how can they establish a business in Brazil with foreign capital. So just as you can see here, there is a red tape just on the left side, as Brazil is known as one of the most bureaucratic countries. Of the world. I'm just gonna fix this. Sorry about it. I didn't notice this was being cut. Okay, so just some considerations before we get started. Opening a business in Brazil isn't a task for amateurs, but for professionals. It is a time-consuming process. It is a bureaucratic process. You will need local expertise from a lawyer or an accountant, and you have to call your lawyer and accountant every day, and follow up on the process. And in this example that I'm going to use here, I'll be assuming you will kickstart the process of establishing a business in Brazil with a lawyer or an accountant, and you will see why. So in phase one here, it all starts with you say the company I'm using as an example is a company called Vita Living, because they are my customers here in Denmark. We decided to start in Brazil with a partner, but we're just creating this hypothetical situation, as I'm actually creating a business case for them, and you will have the possibility and opportunity to follow this and also learn along the process how it is to establish a business in Brazil and taxation in Brazil and so forth. So it all starts in Denmark. The guys, let's say that Jakob, who's the CEO, decides to, it's moment to start a business in Brazil. And the first, it all starts with the company bylaws, or as we say in Brazil, the Estatuto Social. You have to take the Estatuto Social, the company bylaws, to the Brazilian consulate in the country of origin. So as I'm in Denmark, the country of origin is Denmark. So the Brazilian consulate in Denmark, Copenhagen. And after this document has gone through the consulate, then you have to go to a notary public, also in Denmark, to get a few stamps, as this is a procedure. Once you have done that, then you will need to appoint a legal representative in Brazil. This legal representative that you will be appointing in Brazil can either be a lawyer, an accountant, a foreign citizen, or a Brazilian citizen. But you just have to remember that the legal representative chosen, must own a permit to live in Brazil. So if you're choosing, a Brazilian lawyer or an accountant, that's fine. If you want to choose a foreign citizen living in Brazil, just make sure that this guy can live there not only as a tourist, but as can have the permit, or a Brazilian citizen. Once you appoint a legal rep in Brazil, then you have to grant power of attorney to this legal rep in Brazil. What does that mean in practice? It means that you're granting this person the rights to manage your business in that country. Okay. So then we move on to phase two, and then on phase two you will send the bylaws and the power of attorney to to your legal representative in Brazil. You send it via courier. DSV is my partner, so you can use them as well. And then you send these documents. The legal rep will receive these documents and will have to send these documents to be translated. So it's a sworn translation, as they say. Once the documents are sworn translated, then the documents have to go through now a Brazilian notary public, or we call in Brazil cartório, to get more stamps and to recognize that that document is valid in Brazil. Then the next step, still on phase 2 here, you will define the business entity that you want to establish in Brazil. I don't want to be talking about, extending, actually. I want to talk about, but I don't think it's necessary to extend too much on all sorts of business entities that we have in Brazil, as 99% of the companies, the foreign businesses that start in Brazil, they start as a limitada. This is the most common form of business entity chosen by a foreign business, which is very similar to the LLC in the United States or APS in Denmark. So the responsibility is just attained to the amount of capital injected in the company. The managers, they just respond for the amount of capital that they inject in that respective business. And the options of partnership are you can have one foreign company, one company in Denmark and one foreign individual, as long as this foreign individual has the permit to live in Brazil, or two natural individuals. A person in Denmark decides he's got the money, maybe he's retired and he knows someone in Brazil wants to invest. They're going to start a business. That's also another possibility. Or one foreign company and one Brazilian individual. Again, here I say, just remember that you need a legal representative residing in Brazil, and therefore this legal rep needs to, own a permit to have a permit to live in Brazil. A few facts that I want to highlight here: when you start your business in Brazil, when you're doing a social contract, just pay attention. A few things that you have to pay attention to, which are your company name, the company activity, as you have to you have to be part of sign up for a union as well. The amount of capital you're going to inject, so the capital stock, and of course your company will need to have an address. The fact is that a lot of companies, they kickstart the process of company establishment with an attorney or an account with an accountant, as they don't know who to rely on in Brazil. So once the company is established, then you in Denmark, Vita Living in Denmark, could start applying for, if they want to expatriate, for example, a manager. They will, once the company is officially established, then you kickstart the process of the work visas with the Ministry of Labor in Brazil. So in phase 3, you have all the documents sorted out. That's what we have spoken so far. On phase 1 and 2, documents come from Denmark, go to Brazil. You get all the paperwork translated. Then on phase 3, you will have to sit down with your legal rep and define the contractual clauses for the elaboration of the social contract, of course. Then once you have done it, and of course there will be a lawyer involved, then you will obtain the documents. This will be sent into, the lawyer will be doing a lot of this process with you, and the accountant as well. Once you have defined the share of the legal representative in Brazil, then you will get all the documents and permits from the governmental agencies in Brazil. And from this moment on, your business starts to exist in Brazil. Listen, this is streamlined explanation on how do you actually establish a business in Brazil. And also the first class I did, the one I was mentioning, when I started this class, it is streamlined. I cannot. I'm not a lawyer. I have a bachelor in business administration with a major in sales and marketing. So this is just to give you an idea of how the process is to establish in Brazil. But if you want to start a business in Brazil, again, just talk to a lawyer. I can refer you to excellent attorney offices in Brazil, or an accountant I can also refer you to. But I cannot take this responsibility because there are a lot of details that are not being covered here. So once you got the documents and permits from the governmental agencies in Brazil, then what you have to do is you have to open a bank account, and then you do the capital injection. You will send funds to your Brazilian company, but you send it through the Brazilian central bank, and you open a bank account in a bank called maybe Bradesco or Itaú or HSBC if you prefer International Bank or Citibank. And then after you have done this, you will find a suitable location for your office. The way I'm putting that you find a suitable location for your office as one of the last items is because again, I'm supposing you will use a lawyer or an accountant to kickstart the process of establishing a business in Brazil for your business. And if you, again, I didn't cover this aspect, but this is really important for you to know. Once you say, okay, I'm going to start with an accountant, your company will be at the accountant's address. Then again, you can move address. You have to, but you can move the address. But it's just so you know that the accountant will be, or the attorney, they will be receiving all the bills for your company, and they will be taxed also. So all the bills, they will go to their address. So your company has been established, but let's say that you want to import things from your country of origin, or maybe you have some operations in China. Then you need to apply for a document called Radar. It's a license to import and export. And just special information here, the Federal Revenue Service in Brazil allows a quote of $150,000 US for the first 6 months that you are operating in Brazil, either to export or import. But please, again, talk to your lawyer or accountant to know more about this. The reason why they do this is to see the behavior of your business, to see if you can pay all the bills as you should, and or it's more like a way to monitor if your business has a healthy, how can I put it, if your business is healthy or not. And of course, this quote is increased after 6 months, that you have a normal behavior, so to say, in the imports and exports. But again, talk to your lawyer or accountant in Brazil, and you can get more information about it. For sure, there is a way to turn this around, because a lot of companies, they say, this is a ridiculous limit for me. I mean, I export a lot more than that. I need to export or import from Denmark to Brazil a lot more than that value. So again, you have to talk to see how can you turn this around. And finally, we get into the phase 5. And here, once your company is established, once you got the license called Radar to import or export, then you will apply here, if applied, to obtain your work visas for the investor or for whoever you want to expatriate to Brazil. But again, please talk to a lawyer or an accountant to know more about it. Here I have created a checklist and with the timeline, with the time estimate of each phase. So all in all, establishing a business in Brazil doesn't take less than 4 months, and maximum time expected, well, No idea. I've heard cases of some businesses that took for them till 2 years. Some pharma businesses, because of the licenses that they have, they must have. In some cases, there are also factory sites that must be installed, and then the FDA, the Brazilian Anvisa, they are really demanding in terms of getting the licenses. So you will need to talk to your lawyer and check this out. So I hope this class is was helpful. I hope I could um, contribute to your knowledge, a bit more to your knowledge on how do you start a business in Brazil. And I will be back really soon with a new class next time on how do you import something from Brazil, or how do you export to Brazil, what are the main steps, and what are the taxes, how are you going to calculate the landed costs and so forth. So lots of news to come, lots of news on the way. And thanks again, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.